Hello and welcome to another episode of me painting again. Oh yeah, we're painting again, and we're part of the way through already. So what's going on? Why is there a load of trees already pre-painted on this canvas? Well, you may have already guessed how I did this, and if you on my Facebook page, you've probably seen that I posted this picture as it was. So if you want to copy this painting, then the original picture before I paint on it is available to download and copy if you want it. Or got an idea, you don't have to do it the same. Do what you want to do. It's not all about copying, it's about creating your original masterpiece. So what I did is I got some black gesso and I just threw in a load of trees and then an idea of a big tree maybe, and then I stared at it for a bit. Tried to think about how I'm going to make this look like it's got depth. How am I going to make it look good? How am I going to make it look like something I see when I'm out walking, or if I'm in the forest or the woods, or wait, is that the same thing? Is a forest a woods? I don't know. Maybe a forest is bigger than a woods. I'll think about that one. So my next job, after doing the trees, the black gesso trees, I decided I would put a colour over the entire canvas. Because with this technique, the benefit of it is that you can use colours underneath to make your painting work a bit quicker. In this case, I used a very thin coat of sap green. So let's get this arm going. Whoa. Okay, so I'm just tapping the bristles using the 2-inch landscape Bob Ross brush, and I'm just tapping the bristles and getting some sap green on, and then I'm putting it on quite thin, and the reason I want it thin is so I can still see some of these trees behind it, behind this, what is really a glaze. It's a glaze of colour over the top of an underpainting. This is nothing new. I've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. Probably 500 years or more. In fact, I would say more, because they would have used tempera to do the same sort of thing. But that's for another episode. So I'm using sap green. And like I said, I'm just tapping into the paint, get an even distribution of colour. You don't get any streaks. And then you're just chucking it on there. Now I went for sap green because in my head, it's kind of what I wanted, but you don't have to. You could go for something else. As long as you put it on thin, then you'll still get that glaze that I wanted. I haven't got any mediums on there, it's just sap green straight out the tube. If you find it hard to scrub the colour along the canvas, then you could put on a little bit of liquid clear or a little bit of oil in your paint just to thin it a little bit. But I just straight from the tube, me. I'm tough. So here's my palette of colours. I've gone for the light one end to dark the other this time. So I'm terrible at getting the paint in the shot. So I'm using some cad yellow and white. So it's cadmium yellow and titanium white. And just loading the 1-inch brush. Just loading it. Getting ready for where the light's coming from. You know when you're in the woods and you get the light coming through the trees? Well, this is what we've got to think about when we're doing this. So the yellow, it mixes with the green, the sap green, and it makes a nice sort of mistiness. But I'm starting the brightest area and then working out. Because I want to send some of these trees back into the mist. This is something that you could do with acrylics. You could paint all the trees in acrylics and then use the oil as your mist. Create that magic. A lot of painters that I know use acrylics first and then oils second. It's a clever way of finishing a painting off and make it look more like an oil painting because it is half oil. Well, not half. Some of it. So yeah, I'm just using little strokes. I'm not loading the brush too heavy. Ooh, got a shot of my dodgy haircut then. Warning, folks. If you cut your own hair and you bodge it up, you have to go a bit shorter. Warning. Seek professional advice. It'll soon grow back. Anyway, so I'm using the 2-inch brush just to soften everything. And then getting rid of the excess paint on the paper towel. So there we go, just softening everything. Nice and easy. So you're starting to create a bit of an atmosphere already, and I've hardly done anything really. It's amazing when you've got the gesso and you do that, it does add a lot to it. And you could, like I said, you could use acrylics. You could paint your trees in, and then use different colours, and then do this. I'll do an episode like that so you can see what I mean. Give you another little tip. If you've heard of a painter called Thomas Kincaid, it's a technique he used. Biggest selling artist, I think, in America. Really like his pictures anyway. So, soften. Softening. What I'm thinking is I'm softening the background when I'm putting this in, and all this atmosphere. And I'm using little roundish strokes as well. And then using the big old 2-inch brush. I'm saving my big 2.5-inch brush for another painting. I thought I'll just use the 2 for this one. I do like the bigger brush though. Might need to get another one so I can use have 2 on the go all the time. But the 2-inch brush. In fact, you could do all this with a 1-inch brush. You don't need to use the big brush. I just like it. So now we've sent a lot of this back. We can add a bit more light where the sun is, to where that sun's glaring through the trees. And then just going across that. Every time you use the 2-inch brush, you're kind of softening everything. You're making everything a bit softer. I got a bit of paint on my finger. I'm remembering what it's like in the woods, and you get that bit of light just poking through. It is interesting actually when that happens. It's fun trying to work it out. To paint, that is. But this way works. I've seen this system doing it like this before. Using the 1-inch brush just to soften in it. Soften. And then the big brush to soften it, for good measure. Because we like using that. You can see in the background background, the mountains. If you've not seen that one, I'll put it in the cards. And then behind that is a big portrait that I did. He lives behind there. I need to do some glazing on his face, because I made him very sallow looking, because he is, well, was, and I'm going to bring him to life a bit, I think. Anyway, we're making a greeny, browny, yellowy colour. Bit of sap green, a bit of Van Dyke brown, a bit of the yellow, a bit of the white. Making a tree colour. We need to start coming forward now. But some of these trees, will bring them forward. We'll just pick them out. And just using the fan brush, number 3 fan that is, just slide it down. Don't forget, if you're doing this paint in a different colour, say you wanted it to be blue, then add a bit of blue in your tree mix. You want it to be in the same family of the background, so then it stays back. It's a little trick. I'll let you have that trick for free. As long as you hit the like button, that's the cost of that one. No, I get a lot of messages. I'm really happy with the way people are enjoying my videos. 'Cause it makes me happy then. It makes me want to paint more. Do more videos for you all. I enjoy making them, and when people message me and say how much they're enjoying them, it makes me feel good. It makes me think, maybe I am doing something good. Maybe there is something in this YouTube malarkey. It's not for the faint-hearted. So I've got some more sap green, and I'm getting some vermilion red. I've got a bit of yellow ochre. I'd never use that in this painting. I'll put it on. Don't think I did anyway. We'll have to see. I can't remember. So I'm just pushing up with a fan brush. I thought to myself, might as well just use the fan brush now. Make this painting about the fan brush. We've done a lot of stuff with the knife. We use the big brushes quite a lot. And this one's all about the fan brush. So I'm just pushing up, and we're creating a bit of a base colour for that area. We've got our dark down the bottom already anyway. And now I'm getting a bit of light, get a bit more yellow in my colour. Think of the sunshine colour. So if you put your sunshine colour in with whatever colour you're using, and then use that, it makes it sunshiny. And then if you use lighter pressure, it's softer. Softer. There we go. Just little push-ups. Now I've got this land going up to one side, like there's a hill, and similar to an area that I've walked down before. So I thought, I might as well do that one. I like doing that in certain areas that in your painting. Gives it a bit more of a realistic look, because there's a real place like that, so it just adds something to your mind, I think. I don't know. Sap green, bit of the cad yellow and white mixed down there. Got a bit more of the cad yellow then. And adding a little bit more of the brightness then, do you see? And then thinking, oh, light there. I'll put the light in there. Little push-ups again, little push-ups. It's really simple. And the fan brush, oh, it does get feeling good. I like using the fan brush. I mean, look at that. It looks great. That's got a lot of texture. If you like paintings with texture, the fan brush. Brilliant. A lot of top painters use the fan brush. I'm not trying to sell you a fan brush. I don't sell brushes. In fact, I don't sell anything at the moment. But I've got a product on the horizon. Well, I say product. It's my own homemade paints that I'm going to start selling. Maybe. If people want them anyway. I've started using them for other types of paintings, which I'm going to be showing. Because I know some of you will want to do other styles. I mean, I like this style. I really do. I actually love it, actually. It's so fun. And I could paint these sort of paintings every day, all day. I do really enjoy it. But I also like painting in other ways. I'm a big fan of Van Gogh. And I like the Impressionists, and I like painting in other ways. So you've got to do what you enjoy as well, don't you? You got to enjoy yourself and experiment, and then it comes back into other styles of painting. When you paint in other ways, and then you come back, you get better. So now we've got a bit. Can't speak. We just put my teeth back in. Okay, I'm ready. So get some dark, some sap green. You can't see what I'm doing there. I'm terrible. So Van Dyke brown, sap green. We're just getting a real dark here. Dark. Load of paint on that fan brush. Here we go. Let's get this tree in. Just throwing in a lot of colour, a lot of darkness. Brum, big tree. Wiggle that paint out of your brush. And that also gives the tree a bit of texture as well. You don't want your tree to be just straight like a beanpole. Or a lamppost, I should say. Telephone pole. You want it to have a lot of roughness. Because the trees around here, there's some real rough ones. Real big trees, big strong ones, and they need to be strong, especially with the wind that we had. One of them fell, actually. It was amazing when I went in the woods and the tree it fallen, and I was out in it actually, and I wasn't there when that tree fell, but I was a little bit worried because the trees were swaying quite a lot, so I decided to go home. And then the next day I went to where that tree had fell, and someone had chopped it all up into little blocks, little stump type things. And I was like, wow, that looks amazing. And then a couple of days later, they were nearly all gone. People were getting them for firewood. There's a few people with open fires and stuff. So now I'm throwing in a bit of dark, and I should have took a wheelbarrow around there and grabbed them all, and I could have sold it. Made a bit of money. There we go. We've got a big root there. Big root. There's this tree that I was eyeing up today. I was like, ooh, I'm going to paint that. I took a few pictures of it. Hopefully one of them came out. I've been going out painting, getting out there in the wild. So thinking about this shadow behind that tree. So the light's hitting it. There's not going to get much light in that area, so put a bit of dark in there. And then at the bottom of the root, you're not going to get much light hitting that, so put a bit of shadow there. When you're painting, always think about your light source. Always think about where's the light coming from. Yeah, another shot of my bowl cut. I've always thought it'd be funny if a hairdresser had a load of different sized bowls on the wall, and then you could choose which bowl you wanted. Oh, I'll go for the dessert bowl, please. Or if someone wanted it a little bit shorter, they would go for maybe a soup bowl. I don't know. So I'm using the liner brush, creating a few little sticks and twigs. Little branches coming off, going up, coming down, wiggling all over the place. It's good to have them going all over. In fact, when you're out there looking at them, there's branches all over the place, and especially down the bottom parts as well. They're everywhere. You've got to kind of think about which ones you don't want in, because there's so many. When you're doing plein air painting, you can't paint everything. You have to really think about what you don't want in. Do a bit of editing. So I wanted to bring a few branches across the trees behind. Just adding these little details just makes it look a bit better. Give it a bit more interest. If your paint isn't running like, if it's not thin enough to do these little sticks and twigs, put a little bit of paint thinner in with your paint, or if you don't like paint thinner, which, like me, I don't like it, I'll use a little bit of oil. Just a little bit, just enough to make it run. Now I'm just grabbing the fan brush again. Make sure we're using that fan brush, getting some green, darkish colour, that, the green. And we're thinking about the leaves. I mean, we've got to assume this isn't winter. This is probably just before the winter. Not autumn, though. Before autumn. Or maybe before summer. But it doesn't look very spring, does it? Interesting. I'll have to think about that one. It's a good idea, though, to think about what time of year it is when you're doing your painting, because then that kind of makes your decisions for you. You could make it a snowy one. You could do this painting and make it snowy. You could do this as if it's spring and use some real strong colours. You could change that sun into like a really orange glow as well, and then use the orange to affect the landscape. You could do all sorts of things. Unlimited ideas. You could have a river going through. So I'm just thinking that I have some light hitting that tree. Some light hitting that tree there. I'm starting to think about how the light is affecting everything. Some of those leaves are made a bit lighter. And then that side of the trunk. Have the light hitting that maybe. Just tapping. You load your brush so you get a little bit of colour at the end of the bristles, and then I just lightly tap. Just tap. So you get a bit of that light from the sun hitting that tree. And maybe it's hitting a few leaves. We don't know. We can do what we like. It's our painting. And when you do your painting, you do what you like. You can bend light around. You can do whatever you want. The only real strict area that you can't do is what you can't imagine. There's nothing you can't do. That's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing you can't do. And everything takes practice, everything takes a bit of time, so don't feel like you need to rush through and do this painting in 30 minutes or 40 minutes. You could spend a while on it. You can keep sitting back and having a look at it and working out, I'll move this tree over to the right a little bit, or maybe I'll have a tree stump in there. Or maybe one of the trees has fallen and I'll make one of the trees on the floor and have the roots hanging up, or maybe one of the branches is broken off, or maybe there's an owl in the tree. You can think of all sorts of things to happen. Maybe there's a deer running through, and there's going to be an episode about that as well. Going to have one where there's a deer in there. Or is it a stag? Yeah, I'm going to do a stag. Here we go. There we go. See what I did with my arm then? I was imagining the light going shing and hitting this tree. And I just tap in areas. I leave some of the areas to stay dark because then it gives that bark effect then. Don't just fill it up. If you fill it up, then it's not going to look like bark. It's just going to look filled up. But you see how these trees, these darker trees, they come forward at you. And it's an easy little technique, that. An easy one. You can do that. And all we're doing is using contrast. We're using the trick of contrast. And it happens in real life. This sort of lighting does happen. I've seen all kinds of lighting. When you go out walking your dog, or if you like walking in the woods. Unfortunately, I don't have a dog to walk anymore, but I still like walking in the woods. There we go, just bringing out little branches here and there. And get rough with it. I like to get rough with the paint. There we go. Make a real strong. Look at that. And don't worry about imperfections. I tell you, the one thing that I always used to think, I always thought, my tree's not perfect enough. It looks rough. Or the branch doesn't look right. It looks too... It's not symmetrical. It's not perfect. And perfection isn't real. It's not real. Perfection is imperfection. You're probably thinking, what is he on about now? He's losing it. But if you think about a bonsai tree, my knowledge always goes back to a bonsai tree. I think about like how amazing they look and the way they've been trained to grow, and the best ones for me are not perfect looking trees. They've got, their branches aren't symmetrical, their trunks are all twisty and rough, and I always think they look amazing. So perfection is not beautiful. Imperfection is beautiful. So now I'm going through a little bit of blue. Bit of blue on the trunk. So there is no blue on the trunk in real life. Well, in this world there is. So we'll put a little bit of blue on, because blue is cold. So it adds a little bit of cold air to my tree. It's not getting very much light there, so it's cool. And I'm doing that tree as well. The same technique as before, just a little bit of blue. Just tapping. Add that coolness to that tree. And then in a bit in the shadow as well. A bit of blue in the shadow. Don't overdo this. Don't do a bright blue. Let it mix a bit with the colour. Experiment with it. Maybe you want a different colour. Maybe you don't want blue. Maybe you want more of a purpley colour. That would look good. So then I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be nice if there was a path there? I'd like to walk around this. But I was umming and ahhing. So I thought, I'll just put these little plants in. Maybe it's a nettle, I don't know. Maybe it's a little tree that's starting to grow. I don't know. I just thought I'll put these in, and then while I'm doing that I can think about whether I want there to be a path there. Just wiggling out little things. I remember when I was sat in the woods and it was just full of nettles, and I was like, well, I'm not painting all them. So I found another spot. So I'm still umming and ahhing. I'm thinking, oh, it would be nice to have a path around there. Then I could walk around it, see what's on the other side of that hill. That'd be good. I always think when I'm going in a forest or woods that I've never been to before that I'm going to find something really magical in there. Maybe a sword in a stone or something. Or maybe a hobbit hut. Something. I always think that. I don't know why. I'm watching too many movies, I think. So I'm flattening things out now. I'm thinking, yeah, let's have a bit of a pathway here. Get a bit of brown in there. And just make it bigger as it gets closer to you. Make it wider. Simple. But I can imagine walking around there now. I can imagine it. I would like to turn myself into paint and go for a walk in that painting. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of light, I think. It's hard to tell, we can't see what the palette's doing. I mean, who's filming this? So we're getting some light. I got a bit of red and yellow. Kind of overdone it, to be honest. And just using little strokes to put it out there. But I can tell you now, I put some dark on this path again to darken it down because it kind of disappears a bit. And there's one thing I've learned is if you can't see it and you don't want to see it in the painting, then it's fine. But if you can't see what you've painted and you want to see it, well, you've got to make sure we can see it. It's really that simple. Think about it this way. If you didn't want this big tree to be seen that's in the middle that I've painted, then you wouldn't paint it so dark. You wouldn't make it so obvious like I've done. I've made it dark and obvious because I want it to be seen. I want it to show there's a big tree there. So you have to think, I really want to do this. And get excited about it as well. I get excited about it. I'm getting some light on my brush. I hope that makes sense to you. I know sometimes it's hard to explain, and some things you kind of work out yourself in time. The more paintings you do, you start to learn a little bits more, and you'll probably learn stuff that I don't know as well. And that's good, because you learn more and more. You can tell your friends. Or you can keep all your secrets to yourself and not tell anybody. So I'm getting some light. Look at that. I've got some light. Now the problem with that on the path is just making the path disappear, isn't it? Just as we were saying about, I want that path to be seen. Well, why have you made it so light? Now it's disappearing. That's not good enough. And that in my head, I was saying to myself, well, this isn't right. I want it to say there's a path there, but now the path's disappearing. Why did I put that light on there? I got a bit of dark, and I strengthened that edge of the tree, because I wanted that edge of the tree to be, edge of the tree. You see what I'm getting at? So now, get a bit of light, just tapping a little bit of light on some of these leaves. Da-di-da-di-da, tappy-tappy tap. Because some of the light probably will hit some of it. Just pick out the ones that you want. The ones that are really far forward. Maybe they're not getting any light, so I left them dark. And there I was, thinking, I think I'm finished. There's something wrong with that path. So I thought I'll add a bit of blue into my background trees as well, just a hint of it. Just to get that hint of coolness on the other side of those trees as well. Needed a little hint of it. Hint of coolness. So, here we go. The dark back in, yay! Guess what? We can see the path again. Do you see how simple that is? I added a bit of a lighter colour just to make that kind of mist away. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you had a bit of fun. And if you're painting along and you're having a go at something similar, but with a twist to it, good luck, and I hope it works out for you. And hopefully I'll see you at another one. Cheers, bye.